Squat to hammer curl. Here we go. Sammy's going to help us today, and you're going to lift with Sammy. So we're going to start from the standing position right here. The weights are in a neutral position. So that's that hammer position and a curl. It's the neutral position. The hand's just by the side, as you see. So she's going to go down into a nice little squat here, tail down, head up. And then she just stands and she curls, hammer curl, and the heads of the weight kind of touches her shoulders. And she goes back to her start point. And we're going to do it just this slow, folks, for 8. Stand, curl, and that's our start point again. Stand for 3, curl. Stand for 4, curl. So squat to hammer curl. Not that complicated, but a nice compound exercise. And as I talk sometimes, I lose track of where we are in the count, so I rely on Sammy to keep count for me. Thanks, Sam. We're on 6. That's 7. And again, you can do more than 8 if you want, folks. But 8's going to be our general number for a lot of things. Okay, so there we have it. Now, if you want, we're going to continue this. So we're going to progress this exercise where Sammy's going to do it quicker. And those weights are just going to float right to her shoulders. So she's going to squat and boom, right there, and then release. So it's quicker. Boom. A little more metabolic. 2. You can pick up that pace a little more, Sam, if you want. 3. And you use that springy potential of those glutes and those hams back there, and that springy point at the bottom, and that provides the power and then the momentum to just finish off with your curl. And so the weight should feel a little bit lighter if we use those legs to get those curls up. And that's it, folks. Squat to curl to overhead press. So adding on to the last exercise we did, so Sam again is going to start from the standing position in the neutral grip, and she's going to go down and she's going to squat. And then she stands, and then she's going to curl. And she's just going to muscle those guys right overhead. And she keeps it in that neutral position. She comes on down, she decelerates the shoulders, and she puts them back down, hanging by her side. That's 1. Curl for 2. Press for 2. Decelerates the shoulder. 3. Overhead for 3. 4, overhead for 4. 5, overhead for 5. Remember that tail down, head up on that squat as we go down there, as we find that springy point. And we're coming up on that's our 6. And you should use a weight that feels pretty heavy for 8 to 12, somewhere in there. That's what we're going for, folks. Strength and hypertrophy, 8 to 12 reps. And that weight should be heavy enough to challenge you. And that's 8. Yes. Okay, now we're just going to give Sammy a little bit of rest and you a little bit of rest out there. Shake out the shoulders, and we're going to get ready. Now, Sammy's going to blend all that. And just like that last exercise of squat to hammer curl, we're going to blend it, and it gets more metabolic. And those weights just kind of fly up to the ceiling as we use the power of the glutes to get the weights up. So here we go. So for 8 guys, we're going to squat. And boom, curl right in the press. Boom, just that quick. Decelerate to there. Boom, 2, 3. And you're going to need some air. 4, 5. This is the progress version, a little more metabolic. 6, 7, and 8. Squat to curl to overhead press. Very nice. Goblet squat to overhead press. Pretty metabolic. So Sammy's going to pick up a weight here. And she's a little bit heavier weight in those last 2 exercises. And she's just going to merely squat down. She's holding in that goblet position by the head of that weight. And I'd like to see her elbows touch the top of her thighs. There we go, that low. And then she's just going to stand And she's going to just launch it so the head of the weight just kind of clears right over her head. Doesn't have to be straight arms, just clear the head, folks. That's all you got to do. And then come right on down to the elbows touch. And then go on up again. And we'll just do this 2, slow and deliberate. And 3, 4. So slow is strong sometimes. That's 5. And hang down there, Sam. Tap your toes. So like a dirty gas station seat, we're hovering over. And I want to see that weight in those heels. So let's come on up. Just having you hang down there a little bit. This is what, 6?
Yes.
Okay. And her arms are pretty straight overhead. They can be just clear in the head if you want. So maybe keep a little break in those elbows. And slow is strong sometimes. This is 8 coming up?
Yes.
This is 8. Okay, everybody take a little bit of rest right here. Now, Sammy's going to pick up a heavier weight. So, and we're going to pick up the pace. Heavier weight, pick up the pace. And she just has to clear that head. Don't worry about those arms going straight overhead because we want to pound these babies out, all right? So, it's going to be metabolic. Let's go for 8, Sam. Here we go. She's going to pick it up. And for 8. And feel that springy point. Boom. Launch it. Go right on down. Launch it. 2. Launch it for 3. Launch it for 4. You need those legs to get it up. Launch it. Launch it. Launch it. Is that 7?
That's 8.
That's 8?
It is.
That's 8? Oh, let's stop there, folks. So you're a little out of breath?
A little bit.
Okay, good. 1 arm row with side lunge. So here, Sammy's going to pick up a weight, and she's going to step out, and then she makes a bench with her elbow on her thigh, and that protects the lumbar. She does a row. She lets it hang, and she pushes back to center. Okay, Sam, let's blend it. Here we go, folks. Row with Sam for 2. Push back. 3. And push back. 4. 5. And we're going to go 8 again. 6. 7. And here's 8. Switch sides, fresh leg, fresh arm, here we go. And lunge, side lunge, back to center. Lunge, row, let it hang, push back. It's 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. And 8. 1 arm row with side lunge. Walking lunge with hinge. Here we go. So Sammy's going to take a step out, and she drops that knee. Her body hinges forward, almost like her chest is on her thigh. The weights just hang down by her shin there, and she goes vertical again. And now she's going to step through middle, and this is the regress version, folks. She's going to do 2 of these, and she's going to step out again, and she goes down. She hinges, chest on thigh. She comes up. Good. So stepping through the middle is a regress version. Now she's going to do what I call the Frankenstein walk, and she's going to walk on out. Boom. Drop it. Hinge it. Vertical. And now a big step out. Boom. To the next one. Drop. Hinge. Vertical. And if we're in a big gym, we'd walk across the gym. But we're in a little teeny living room area or hotel room, wherever you guys are watching this from, and we're just going to go back and forth. So here we go again. And Sam's going to do another 2. And that big Frankenstein step. Boom. Good. And she's going to turn around. So that's 2, 4, 6, we're going to 8 of these guys. Good. So we'll do last 2 here. Hinges, vertical, big Frankenstein step, boom. Hinge it, vertical, walking lunge with hinge. Walking lunge with hinge to row. Same as last exercise, just adding one more bit in here, the row. So Sammy's going to do the regress version first. She's going to step on out. She drops. She hinges. And with that chest on that thigh, that lumbar is protected back there, she can row. She goes vertical again. She's going to step through middle. Now she's going to step out again. Boom. Drop that back knee. Hinge forward. Row. And then she goes vertical and steps. Now we're going to go the next 6 with that big Frankenstein walk. Out, she hinges, she rows, it drops, she goes vertical, and she steps all the way out. Next one, drops, hinge, row, she goes vertical, and that's it. If we're in a small space, we just use what we got. Here we go, 2 the other way, drop it, hinge, row, down, vertical, big Frankenstein step, boom. Chest on thigh, we row it. Good. All right. Going back across, step, drop, hinge, row, down, vertical. Step, drop, hinge, row. And that's it, folks. Walking lunge with 2-arm press. Yep, a lot of walking lunge patterns here. So Sammy's going to have those weights high at her shoulders here. We're going to make ourselves top heavy, like a top heavy ship. And she's going to step on out. She drops that back knee and she just presses them overhead. It's just that simple in that neutral position. She steps through the center though, and then she's going to step out again. She presses overhead. Good, and that's our 2. We're going to turn around. And now she's going to maybe do a Frankenstein step out and not go through middle. And from there, she's got to go, boom, all the way out with that top heavy weight. Boy, really like that. Looks nice. Here we go. Back and forth again. Big Frankenstein step all the way out. And press overhead. And we got that. Our last 2, right, Sammy? Here we go. And again, if you want to do more of these, folks, just keep on going. You got the pattern. You can regress it if you want. And there we have it, walking lunge to 2-arm press. Walking lunge with 1-arm press. Here we go. So again, those weights are high, making us top heavy. And Sammy's going to come on out. We're going to do the regress version. And she's going to put up that right arm with her left leg out. Ooh, that's contralateral. She steps through the middle of her again. Then she steps on out. Her right leg's out, so her left arm goes up. And we'll step through middle. Now we'll do our Frankenstein walks for our next 6. So she goes out. It's that right arm, right, folks? Left leg. Now the right leg's forward. So that left arm goes up. It's the opposite. It's called contralateral. And it puts a more demanding load on those hip rotators and those glute medius and glutes and all that good stuff in the hips. And why not get good glutes? We all want good glutes. Okay, so our last 2, Sammy, is that all right? Come on down, here we go. And a big old step out, boom, 1 more overhead press with that left arm. Beautiful. Walking lunge with 45-degree rotation. So Sammy's going to hold out that dumbbell like she's kind of hugging a tree out there, puts a load on her core and her musculature, and she's going to step on out. And she's going to turn 45 degrees into the camera. That nose, sternum, weight is all in a line. She goes back to center, and then she's just going to step through the middle again and step on out. Now she turns, center, and now for the next 6, we'll do that big Frankenstein walk again, folks. Here we go. Step on out. She turns into that forward leg, steps on out, boom, turns into that forward leg again. Nice. And we're going around, one more round trip down and back, step on out, turn in. Where the eyes go, the body goes. So if you turn that head with that sternum and torso with that weight, you are sure to really put a nice load on that working hip, that right hip right there, and now our left hip here. And that's it. Walking lunge with 45-degree rotation. Push up to one arm row. Some people call them renegade rows. Who knows? A lot of names for this thing. But her hands are going to be on the dumbbells, which provide a nice grip. So we can have a nice straight wrist there. It's better on the wrist. Here we go. So if you need to stay on your knees, stay on your knees. But if you can go along full plank with Sammy, let's go. So she's just going to do a nice push up. And she's going to row. And she has a nice wide base there at her feet. And she does a push up and she rows with the other hand, and that core's got to work. Those stabilizers have to work. These are just great, aren't they, folks? 3, 4, and our number is 8. And so the weight should be heavy enough where 8 is difficult. And if it's not, think about going up. Here we go. She has a nice row, and she's breathing, It gets harder here.
That's 8.
And that's 8, folks. Looks nice. Squat to clean to one arm press. Squat's inherent in a clean. But Sam's going to show us, we're going to start actually standing because we want to use the elastic potential of our hips and glutes and hamstrings to get that weight up to that shoulder clean position. So here she goes. She's going to go down, and she has that elbow kind of goes out in a shrug, and she keeps that elbow in tight, and then she's going to muscle it overhead. And then she decelerates down to the shoulder, and then she releases it. That's it. Let's do 8 of those, folks. Here we go. That's 1. She has 7 more. 2. 3, and she just muscles it. 4, clean to press. That's 5. Clean to press. 2 more. Use those legs to get it up. Find that springy point and drive up. And that weight just flies up if you drive up with those legs. Okay, there we go. That's our 8. Little quick rest, huff, huff. You should be a little out of breath now. And let's go to the other side. Here we go for 8. And little scarecrow arms, the elbow goes out, but that elbow tucks in closer to the waist. Once we get it to that clean position, boom. Overhead, 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. As you get tired, you got to drive those legs. Just drive those legs, get that clean, and then got it. Cleaned overhead press. Squat to clean to one arm push press. So this is a smarter, biomechanically more efficient way to do this. And so Sammy's going to, again, pick up the weight, and she's going to start from that position, and she's going to go down, use the elastic potential, and she's going to clean it. You've already done that. And quarter squat, she launches overhead. So a little quarter squat in those knees, and that's a push press. Here it is, clean, push, press. To the shoulder, release. Clean, push, press. Just a quarter squat we need, and we're using the elastic potential there. So those hips, boom, boom. Twice, we're using the elastic potential of the hips to get the weight up, and that is more efficient way to do it, and we like that. Makes us a smart little human. Here we go. Clean, push, press. And that's it. Take a little bit of rest. Huff, huff. We're just launching that thing overhead with that push press, a little quarter squat. Okay, here we go, Sam. 8 this arm from that position. Here we go. Clean, push, press. Clean. And I might have you just slow down a little bit here. So let's clean it. And then let's push press and make that 2 distinct motions. So let's clean it, just stop there. Now, push, press. A little too deep on that squat. Here we go. Clean, ready, push, press. Yeah, so we can really kind of break this thing down if we need to. Here we go. And we're going to clean it, push, press as we launch it overhead. Okay. Clean, push, press. And here's it. Last one, folks. Boom, overhead. Very nice. One arm snatch. Truly a power exercise. You got to love these. Maybe start with a little bit lighter weight, folks. Just get the motion first, and then you can go heavy. So here we go. Sammy's going to pick up the weight. And she's going to start from our start position. And she goes down, use the elastic potential of her hips, and she just flicks it right overhead in one motion. Decelerates to there. That's our start point again. Here we go. And she flicks it right overhead. Decelerates. Stops at that start position again. 3, 4, 5. Watch your heels. Huh? They're driving up. She's producing power out of those legs, which makes that weight feel weightless as it flies up over the head, as that wrist flicks that weight directly overhead, and she locks out those joints. And there we have it. Should be a little metabolic here. She flicks it. She decelerates. And here's 3. She flicks it overhead, decelerates. Start point again. And we're breaking this down pretty deliberately, folks. We want you to see just the little bits here. We're going to make sure that you lock in that lumbar as you that tail down, head up as you go down for that next snatch. Always protect the lumbar. And so we're breaking it down so you do that. Now, Sammy's going to finish up here. And we're going to go back to the other side. So you want folks, keep on, we're going to do just 4 this time, Sam. But Sammy's going to kind of blend it. So right from overhead, she's going to kind of go right into the next snatch. And you're going to see it's more fluid. Definitely have that tail down, head up. Makes it a little more metabolic. So let's do a nice 4 metabolic. So she goes, whoop, those heels go up, and she goes right down. Boom, and right on down. 3, 4. And again, folks, you can do as many of those as you want. 1, 2, 3. She just blends it right on down for a 4th one. And that's a 1-arm snatch, folks. Bilateral Bulgarian split squat. Here we go. So Sammy's got weights in both hands. So try to go heavy on this, about as heavy as you can hold. And then she's going to step out a little bit, and she's just going to go and do, and that knee's going to drop down to about maybe 2 or 3 inches from the floor. And that's all it is. We like these Bulgarians because it puts the preferential load on that front leg, and that hip stabilizer has to work, those little hip rotators and upper outside glute muscles. And we're just doing 8 per side here. So pretty straightforward. I'm sure we all have seen these in gyms and through our little athletic lives. We might have seen this done. But you can see those quads are working and those glutes are working, those hams are working. So again, so we're just going to do 8 each side. Now we're going to do maybe 4 more each side, but we're going to kind of cue Sammy here and have a little bit of fun. So continue on if you want, folks. So I'm going to have her to go down and stay down there, right? And then I want her to pulse for like 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and stay down. And then come up. Here we go. And number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and stay down. And power up. So now that should get a little more burn in there, huh? And let's go down, Sammy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Stay down. Let it burn. Let it burn. Now come up. 1 more, right? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And she's going to power up. Just a little progress version. You can just have a little bit of fun. Mix it up a little bit. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Power up. And go down and stay down. Pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Power up. So I like this for athletes, people that need to go get that burn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And withstand that acidosis so we can win races, huh? And let's go down again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and power up. And there we have it. So that should feel really good and feel like you had a good workout with those glutes and legs. Unilateral Bulgarian split squat. So unilateral means one side, but what side? Well, we're going to do both versions of this. And so Sammy's going to have her right leg forward. She's holding it in her right hand, and that left leg is going to go back on the bench. And so this is kind of the easier version. So just knock out 8 here, Sammy. And Bulgarian along with Sammy, you guys at home. And this is 5. And again, the weight is on the same side as the forward leg. So we're going to note that. And that's our 8. So we're going to switch here. And now, switch legs, Sam. So now her left leg is going to be out. She's going to hold it in her left arm. And that's going to be to the right side of your viewing audience. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And even on that side, we can see how the weight kind of wanted to pull her over a little bit. But now we really want that weight to try to pull her over a bit. And we're going to do a contralateral. So again, she's switching legs now. So So now the weight is in that back leg side. A nice little hole right there. And then now that hip's got to do more work. So here we go. We're going to do another 8. And so this is a contralateral version. That last version is called ipsilateral, which means same side. This is contralateral, which means the opposite side of that working leg. And then that hip has got to resist that torque that wants to pull her over to her left. That'd be camera right. And that hip has got to work a little harder now. So this is my favorite version of these guys. And I like having it, again, using only one weight. And that weight is offloaded or offset to that opposite side of the body of the working leg. And with it, we have 3 there. And 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you love these, keep on going. Do more sets and reps. One leg butt busters. I love these things. Love these one leg patterns. So Sam's going to pick the weight up. And we're going to do the regressed version first, where she's going to balance on one leg here, and then the other leg is just going to touch the other, lightly touch the other leg, foot, ankle complex, and she's holding the weight in her right hand, and she's going to try to touch that weight to the top of her left shoe as she balances. And these are probably pretty challenging for you, but again, it's going to help having that foot kind of touching that other foot at first, that kind of floating right foot there. And we'll just do 4 each leg here. And you might be wobbling all around or whatever. That's okay, have fun with it. There you go, we'll just do 4, so here we go, 3. You can see even in the regress version, it's going to be challenging. Good. So again, we're just getting these neural patterns down. Now, pretend you have a 3-inch gold chain tethering each ankle bone together, and now that foot's just going to hover there, hover in space. And it's going to want to tend to go behind you like a big dinosaur tail, and you don't let it do that. You keep that 3-inch tether between those 2 ankle bones with that foot hovering in space, making that down foot, that standing leg, do all the work. And that was very nice. Here she switches it. So for this side, and this is the real version, folks. You can see how that leg wants to track back a little bit, be a little dinosaur tail back there, but she's trying to keep those ankle bones close to each other. And these are challenging and they're wonderful. And again, you're bending at the knee, you're not just hinging over at the hip. Lunge to one leg butt buster, or actually it's a reverse lunge to standing stork to one leg butt buster. So she's holding the weight in her right hand. That means her leg is going to go back now. On that same side, she comes to a standing stork. She hovers that ankle, and she does a butt buster. She goes back to vertical, and right into the next reverse lunge to a standing stork. Hover that ankle, butt buster. Reverse lunge for 3, standing stork. And keep on going, Sammy. That's 4, right? 8's our number. And that's 5. And this is great glute work. And notice she's trying to really bend that knee, get as low as you can with that left standing leg. She goes on back, and that should be really kind of burning now, folks. Should be really burning, because that thing's been under tension for a long time. And that glute should be sore on you, deeply sore. Okay, here we go, other side. And she's holding it, that same leg side goes back for our reverse lunge. She goes to the standing stork. She hovers the ankle. And then she goes down. She stands, reverse lunge 2, to standing stork. Hover the ankles, butt buster. So definitely a little compound move here. Balance, coordination. And when you're doing these balance maneuvers like this, trust me, you may not need a whole lot of weight. So a lot of these functional type movements like this, especially ones that really start burning muscles, yeah, don't overdo the weights at first, but of course build up to it as heavy as you can. But again, 8 should feel pretty darn burny. So where are you, Sam, here?
7.
Okay, this is the 8th one here, folks. Congratulations, that was a tough exercise. Inverted ham with one arm row. Here we go. So Sammy's going to go into a nice little T pattern here, keeping that right hip bone turned into the floor. And then when she does that, she can row. And then she comes back to standing. And we do that for 8, folks. Again, that right hip closest to you in the viewing audience is going to want to open up towards camera, but you don't let it. You kind of roll that hip so it's square to the floor, almost like that right hip bone is rolling into the floor, keeping those hips square. And again, if you want, you can just do that little T pattern and stay there and do 8 rows, but Sammy's coming in and out of it each time. And I kind of like that version. I like that hip hinge, like a little German wooden doll that hinges it right there at the hip. Okay, and she's going to turn around. We're going to see the other side for us. She's going to go into that T pattern with a slight bend in that standing leg, in that knee. And again, now that left hip bone should be rolling down towards the floor, keeping that pelvis square parallel to that floor beneath you. And again, of course, if you're doing max rows, this would not be the exercise to try it. And again, if it's light enough, theoretically, this whole routine could be in the green routine in the book. But with red, we're trying to go for heavier weights. Again, that 8 to 12 rep range where we are working on a little bit of hypertrophy and strength. And there we have it, folks.